All right, let's dive right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a massive, fundamental shift that is currently shaking the very foundations of the artificial intelligence industry. We are looking at this rapidly escalating tension between enterprise AI users and the major frontier AI labs. Specifically, we're going to examine how one CEO's highly publicized outburst just exposed a total rethinking of how businesses buy, build, and deploy artificial intelligence. We've got shifting financial metrics, explosive televised interviews, and literally billions of dollars on the line. So let's get into it.
Section 1. The televised AI revolt.
So, on July 1st, 2026, Palantir CEO Alex Karp goes on CNBC, and wow, it was raw. He was aggressive and totally bypassed the usual corporate PR speak. He framed this whole situation not just as a business disagreement, but as a critical national security risk. He fired back, completely rejecting the idea that the United States, especially in defense and critical infrastructure, should outsource the battlefield to the consensus view of Silicon Valley. He essentially stated he was just channeling the quiet, private frustrations of countless American business leaders.
And he wasn't just throwing out vague complaints either. He took direct aim at the big players, specifically naming OpenAI and Anthropic. He argued that their entire API-driven business model is just fundamentally wrong for American enterprises. It was a direct, frontal assault on exactly how the leading players in AI are monetizing their tech.
Moving on to Section 2, the wealth tax problem.
Karp actually called this current dynamic a wealth tax on American business. And to explain why, he dropped a brand new buzzword on the industry: token maxing. Basically, he defines token maxing as this practice where AI providers prioritize their own raw API usage volume. They're literally just chasing the maximum number of tokens processed rather than delivering actual tangible business outcomes for their clients. In his view, these labs are heavily incentivized to make you use more compute, not necessarily to solve your problems more efficiently.
Think about how this trade-off actually plays out for a business. On one side of the equation, enterprises are handing over their proprietary data, which is essentially their competitive advantage, to third-party providers. And on the flip side, what do they get? They're getting hit with escalating, endless token costs that generate very little real value. You're basically paying a massive premium just to rent intelligence, while potentially educating your vendor's future models with your most valuable data.
Which brings us to Section 3, the sovereign AI solution. Now, you've got to realize this wasn't just some random corporate venting, it was a highly calculated business strategy. The day before that interview, Palantir actually published a manifesto pitching a radical alternative, which is total ownership. They're arguing that institutions need to stop renting intelligence month to month from a black box. Instead, enterprises should maintain full control over their proprietary data, keep the resulting model weights on their own hardware, and treat the AI model itself as just a replaceable component rather than this permanent, incredibly costly dependency.
And the timing of Karp's rant? Definitely no accident. Just 2 days prior, Palantir and NVIDIA teamed up to announce a joint sovereign AI operating system. The technical architecture here is fascinating. They deploy open-weight NVIDIA Nematron models, running them locally on NVIDIA's cutting-edge Blackwell Ultra hardware. But the real kicker is that it operates securely inside an air-gapped environment. That means absolutely no data ever leaves the customer's building, and zero external API calls are made. It's about complete ownership over the means of AI production.
Next up, Section 4, follow the money.
You know, it'd be easy to dismiss this as just a philosophical debate, but real-world behavior is already shifting. We are talking about massive cost differentials here. Right now, Chinese open-weight models are incredibly cheap, like 60 to 90% cheaper than the frontier models from OpenAI and Anthropic. Because of that staggering price difference, those cheaper alternatives are now quietly handling between 30 and 46% of all US enterprise token traffic. When the cost savings are that extreme, loyalty to the biggest brand names starts to evaporate pretty fast.
And this isn't just theoretical anymore. Major companies are practically abandoning those expensive APIs. Take Coinbase, for example. They managed to cut their AI spending nearly in half simply by routing their engineers to these cheaper Chinese models. Then you have an AI automation company named Lindy, who moved their entire workload entirely off Anthropic and onto DeepSeek. Even Microsoft, who, remember, is a major investor in OpenAI, is reportedly exploring a hosted version of a Chinese open-source model as a cheaper engine for one of its own products. That is a sobering reality check for the major frontier labs.
And if you want proof that the market is actively validating this Own Your AI approach, just look at Palantir's Q1 2026 results. They reported revenue of $1.63 billion. That is an explosive 85% year-over-year growth. Their U.S. commercial revenue more than doubled. They even raised their full-year guidance and are projecting a massive $15 to $18 billion in free cash flow over the next 2 years. On top of all that, their stock jumped 9% on the exact day of Karp's interview.
Let's pivot to Section 5, the Frontier Lab counter-argument.
Now, to remain completely impartial here, we really have to look at the other side of this dialectic, because the Frontier Labs have a very strong response to this televised critique. They point out, quite accurately, that Alex Karp is the CEO of a company launching a direct competitor. Calling your rivals overpriced on national television the exact same week you ship your own alternative is, frankly, marketing first and analysis second. They also note that Palantir's own stock valuation is incredibly expensive right now, sitting at roughly 74 times forward earnings. But more importantly, they argue that enterprises are happily paying for the superior intelligence, premium quality, and rigorous safety guardrails that frontier models provide. Those are things that cheaper open-weight alternatives simply cannot reliably guarantee. If something goes wrong, they argue, you're going to want the accountability of a major lab.
Finally, Section 6. Who controls the value? Ultimately, whether you side with Palantir's vision for data sovereignty or OpenAI's push for premium frontier quality, this whole corporate drama exposes a fundamental shift in procurement. For the last few years, the only question that really mattered was, which model is smarter? But as the performance gap between the absolute elite frontier models and the cheaper open-weight alternatives narrows to just a few percentage points, the decision calculus for businesses changes entirely. It's no longer just about raw intelligence. It becomes a critical architectural decision.
So, to wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. As you look toward the next decade of artificial intelligence, ask yourself this. When that intelligence gap completely closes, who will truly control the proprietary data? Who will dictate the cost structures? And ultimately, who is going to capture the real value when AI is no longer something a business rents, but something a business owns? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and definitely keep your eyes on how this procurement battle unfolds.